I think enough is enough, don't you? Every single blasted weekend, we have protesters from the pro Palestinian side marching down the streets of Melbourne, Sydney. Those are the two main cities that they decide to congregate in. It is frustrating. It costs taxpayers millions of dollars for police resources. The police are tired. They're sick to death of the pro-Palestinian nut jobs that are out on the streets every single bloody weekend protesting a cause that we've got nothing to do with. We can't solve, we can't change what's going on in Gaza. But yet these dingbats seem to think that by closing down our streets in the city, taking over our streets, it's going to make a huge difference to what's going on in Gaza. It makes no difference whatsoever. It just causes problems. And the radical leftists, right, are known as being the violent type. They should be classified as a terrorist organization, if you ask me. Because yesterday, wouldn't you know, yesterday down in Melbourne, it wasn't the March for Australia protesters. No, in fact, they were peaceful. Surprise, surprise. It happened to be the radical left that were violent. And the police had to use force against them. They were pelted with rocks. Here is Victoria Police telling us exactly what happened. And might I add, they even praised the March for Australia protesters, the ones on the right side, not the neo-Nazis that everyone wants to label them as, but everyday Aussies waving the Aussie flag, not a single Australian flag in the radical leftist type protesters, if you even want to call them protesters. I'm going to call them disruptors. How about that? But have a listen to Victoria Police. I think he's the police chief. I'm not too sure, but have a watch.
This is what was thrown at police today, and I think Melbourne has had a gutful. I look on the social media streaming platforms of some of these issue-motivated groups that are saying police used excessive force. The fact was, these were being thrown at police. Bottles filled with shards of glass were being thrown at the police. Rotten fruit was being thrown at police. Bins were put on fire. Flags were on fire. And I think, really enough's enough. People came to pick a fight with the police. The people that came to pick the fight with police were the issue-motivated groups on the left. I can tell you that the March for Australia group, they were peaceful, they were engaging, they listened to our instructions, they did what they were told, and they protested by example.
Now, these issue-motivated dingbats on the left got on social media and blamed Melbourne police. Now, I want to show you this, right? This is an effigy of people on the left burning Victoria Police. An effigy, no less. I can't show you the video, unfortunately, but what I can do is show you a photo of the effigy on fire. Now, if that's not a statement, I don't know what is, right? But of course, the mainstream media wanted to paint those on the right as being the aggressors. They wanted to use that video and selectively edit it. They edit out how I didn't screenshot the police officer's name. I think it's Cheeseman or something. But nevertheless, my friends, he's a frustrated police officer that does his job on a regular basis. And what he said about these agitators online, there's one in particular that I want to point out. Purple Pingers. If you don't know who he is, you should definitely have a look at his stuff over on X or even on Instagram. But this guy, pro-socialist type, he wants to call us Nazis. And yet he's a socialist. He's the one that wants to bring down housing in Australia. This guy's nuts, right? And he wants to go on X and claimed to be the victim. This guy brought some show and tell to a press conference to try and divert attention away from the fact that his militarized goons with actual guns, horses, armor, and chemical weapons were shooting at us, but some of the protesters said mean things to the poor little coplets. You understand why this copper was frustrated and angry? These police officers have had a gutful. They've had enough. Like every single weekend. Instead of actually dealing with the machete and knife crime in Melbourne that they've got a massive problem with at the moment, they're having to deal with these dingbats that don't care about the law. And the agitators over on X. There should be consequences, right? There should be, look, enough is enough. Victoria Police don't deserve this. You have a right in Australia to protest peacefully, might I add, not get aggressive, burn effigies, burn flags. Here is a photo for you all to show you. Death to Australia. Abolish Australia. And they're burning the Australian flag. Not one flag of Australia was flown with these pro-Palestinian dingbats. No, he said they burn it. Funny how the radical leftist types, they want to be classified as actually, we're the loving Australians. We're all about love and peace and kindness and whatever else, but yet their actions prove otherwise. You look at the March for Australia people, patriotic Aussies waving the Australian flag, peaceful, loving, hardworking, can only actually get out once in a while on a Saturday because most of them would be working, or even on a Sunday. Because most of these people have jobs and they have lives. A lot of these people are more than likely paid agitators. But to burn the Australian flag should be a crime, if you ask me. But then to say abolish Australia and death to Australia. This is the pro-migration side, I'll have you know. The pro-Palestinian nut jobs that run around the streets of Melbourne every single bloody weekend chanting free, free Palestine. Purple Pingers goes again. Cops just flashbanged, pepper sprayed, and tear gassed us completely unprovoked. Yeah, right. So what the cop in the video you just watched is he's holding up, that came from you guys. So he's lying, is he? You know, this cop had every opportunity to blame those on the right, to blame the March for Australia protesters, but instead he actually told the truth. The left is violent. Changed my mind. Oz Integrity goes, Jordan, which is Purple Pingers, I don't think you realise just how much SHIT you're in. Victoria Police are absolutely done with your antics, and now that they've escalated the domestic terrorism with you, admitting you were both there and inciting hundreds against them, it is you that is going to feel the full force of the law. For your information, suggest you get a lawyer and fast. If you are agitating the crowd, causing incitement of violence, and actually throwing rocks at police, I'm not saying that Jordan was, but if you were one of those people that were throwing rocks at police, you should be arrested. That's assault of law enforcement. It wasn't the March for Australia people at all. And by the way, the mainstream media had an absolute field day. They selectively edited that video, the cop video. 7 News, being one of the worst, have now changed their last propaganda story from it comes after 2 officers were hospitalized after clashing with anti-immigration protesters to it comes after 2 officers were hospitalized after clashing with protesters at the anti-immigration rally. The clashing happened at the anti-everything far leftist rally. It had nothing to do with the anti-mass immigration rally. Fix it, 7 News Melbourne. No, we're done with these dingbats. We're done with the mainstream media. Is it any wonder that the mainstream media doesn't get watched anymore? The only people that watch the news are those that are very, very low IQ. But the problem is the mainstream media today consistently lying, painting us out like we're the bad guys. Oh, and Jacinda Allen has said nothing. At the time I'm recording this, has said absolutely nothing about the far left extremists, about the lefties attacking the police. Oh, why haven't you said anything, Jacinda Allen? Oh, you can't blame the right, can you? Maybe you're thinking of a way that you can blame the right. You know, the thing is, if the right is in attendance, they're automatically condemned by radical leftists that are in charge, that actually support and condone this kind of behavior. Meanwhile, the federal police and the police in Victoria have had a gutful. They've had enough. A vast majority of them go to work and they work hard protecting everyday citizens from the likes of these nut jobs, trying to keep the peace, law and order. And they have to put up with agitators online like Purple Pingers, Jordan, saying crap like this. People like Joel Jamal and Big Chocky are cheering for those siding with the fascists who explicitly kicked them out of their rally because they weren't white. I don't know what kind of pathetic right-wing lapdog you have to be to reach that level of simp. Mate, they weren't kicked out at all. Did you see the let me get the I see him all the time. I keep blanking on his name. Actually, it's pretty bad. I should find out who it is, but it's Big Chocky, right? He has lots to say about what's going on in Australia at the moment. And then there's the Two Worlds Collide podcast. I think that's the one. Two Worlds Collide podcast, and it's Sam Banford. And Sam, if you're watching this, mate, I love your work. Keep it up. He was at the March for Australia down in Melbourne, I believe it was, and people were, I think it was Melbourne. Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. But Sam is an Australian Army combat veteran and former paratrooper who deployed in Afghanistan in 2012. So the thing is, when it comes down to people like Sam, I have a lot of respect for him. He didn't go to Afghanistan to come back and then have these dingbats that have got no idea what's going on in the world trying to ruin this great country. It's annoying. It's frustrating. And most of them don't even know why they're there. They just love violence. Why is it that the left loves violence, I wonder? It needs to stop. I've had enough of it. Have you? Anyway, that's enough from me, but you guys take care, be blessed, and I'll see you all in the next video.